Hey guys, what's going on? It is Dylan back again with another DJI Mavic 2 Pro 2 Zoom tutorial. Mavic 2 Pro, Mavic 2 Zoom, the Mavic 2 series, this will work equally the same with both the drones. So please keep that in mind whether you have the Mavic 2 Pro or the Mavic 2 Zoom. So this is actually something that's not entirely quote-unquote new, but it may be new to you, and it's certainly kind of, you know, new to me. I was kind of actually just thinking the other night about kind of a cinematic move that it's kind of missing, if you will, in a way. It's there, but you kind of have to be creative with it. It's not just laid out blatantly in front of your face. And without any further ado, let's get to it and let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. I'm talking about what I'm going to be calling vertical hyperlapses. And there's two different ways you can achieve these. And vertical meaning the drone's either rising in altitude while doing a hyperlapse, aka moving time lapse, or the drone is decreasing in altitude as it's shooting a hyperlapse. So what I'm going to do here is, if you look here on the DJI Go 4 app with me, we are going to enter the intelligent flight modes, and how we're going to do that is on the far left of the screen. We're going to, you see the four white icons, we're going to tap the little remote icon, which takes us to our intelligent flight modes, and then we're going to tap on hyperlapse. Now, so the first way we can do this is we can use waypoints. Now, I don't know about you guys, I'm not speaking for you, and I'm not speaking for everyone, but typically when I think of waypoints, I think about movement this way, and maybe a little up and down too, but never just straight up or straight down. Maybe, you know, kind of like this, maybe panning and up and down, kind of some, you know what I mean? But I never really just thought about, man, we just need a good hyperlapse that's just, you know, rising straight up in altitude or straight down. So one way you can do this, again, is with waypoints. So down at the bottom of the screen, you'll see we have our four different modes. To the far right, I'm going to tap on waypoint. Now I'm going to hit the little blue plus button and say, boom, that's my first waypoint. I'm sitting there hovering about 94 feet. Now I'm going to take the drone up until it gets to about, I don't know, 300 feet. There's 200. Let's get to about 300 feet. And we are about at 300 feet, right about there. We'll call it good. And then I'm going to hit the blue plus button again. Now I have my two waypoints set. Now, if you look to the right of that big blue box, we're only going to have two waypoints, you know, at the top and at the bottom. You can do in order. If you tap it, it'll do reverse. So that means that now, instead of the drone flying back down to start at the bottom and rise up, the drone's actually going to start right there. So now I'm going to hit go. And now, as you can see, it's going to take 75 photos to go from that altitude, about 300 feet, clear down to where I started. So that is the first way that you can achieve just a good old-fashioned lowering altitude hyperlapse. Okay, so now as you can see, we have about 10 photos left. It just shot number 66, 67, 68, and that will be about done. And then we will have a very simple hyperlapse of the drone just declining in altitude. Now, of course, you could do the waypoints again and just do it up again, and instead of having it go reverse to rise in altitude, you could just do the opposite. But I want to show you guys another way that I kind of just stumbled upon and discovered that you could do this same exact thing without doing it in, you know, the waypoints mode. So we're going to go back, and now if you look at the bottom of the screen, you'll see the four hyperlapse modes again, and we are going to tap on the first one, free. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to slowly, like barely push up on my left stick, just barely, to where the drone is going ever so slow. Okay, first I'm going to hit go, as you can see I did, and then if you'll look what happens right when I start pushing up very slowly, this thing will pop up and it'll tell you that you can push one of the customize, the C2 or C1 button, which I have done, and it enters a cruise control. Okay, so now, since I was barely increasing in altitude, I tap this back button. You can tap either one of them, guys, C1 and C2, and then it enters a quote-unquote cruise control. As you can see, my hands are not on the sticks, and the drone is increasing in altitude. Now, it will continue to increase in altitude until either it gets to 75 photos or however long you set your hyperlapse parameters to be. So you might want it to go as long as to where it takes 350 photos to make the length of hyperlapse you want. Or whenever it gets to that ceiling, which is about 389, 400 feet for, you know, here in the United States, the FAA, you know, regulation and everything. So it's going to keep going until it gets to 75 photos. I'm gonna go ahead and fast forward so you guys don't have to watch this slow process. Okay, so now as you can see, we have 10 shots left again, 9, 8 more shots, and then our rising in altitude via free mode, hyperlapse, will be done. So now that I have showed you guys how to do it in 2 different ways, here's how they turned out. Pretty cool stuff, right? Like I said, it's not something that, you know, somebody else probably hasn't already figured out and is doing. But for all of you out there that was kind of maybe looking for another, you know, cinematic move to your hyperlapses instead of like the POI, the orbit, or just, you know, from here to here or whatever, it's just another cinematic way you can add movement to your cameras to do your moving time lapse, aka hyperlapse. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to smash that thumbs up button. And as always, please be sure to subscribe, as I'll continue to have more DJI Mavic 2/Zoom videos upcoming in the future. As always, guys, I enjoyed it. This is Dylan.